So welcome back to the session on Hoplobatrachus typhus. We have been discussing on the nervous system of the species, and we have already discussed and seen the structure of brain, the functions of each part of the brain, the ventricles and their role. So here we will be dealing in detail regarding the spinal cord. Okay, so this presentation brings to you the detail on spinal cord, and here you can see in this figure this part is the brain, okay, extending till over here. Okay, you can see the olfactory lobes, the cerebral hemispheres, the optic lobes, the medulla oblongata, cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. Till here it is this is the structure of the brain. Okay, this part is the brain. From here it is the spinal cord till over here. Okay, so you can see it is spinal cord is actually an extension of the uh, brain, posterior extension. Okay, so the spinal cord, it extends posteriorly from medulla oblongata through foramen magnum. It is a opening in the skull through which this comes out. Actually, the what you call spinal cord, it comes out posteriorly, extends into the spinal cord. Okay, and this lies within the neural canal of vertebral column. The spinal cord is actually protected within the vertebral column, and in the vertebral column, there is a neural canal through which the spinal cord passes. So when we will be discussing on the structure of vertebrae, you will be able to see the structure of each vertebrae do have a neural canal inside, and the spinal cord passes through them. Okay. Now the spinal cord in general, it is short, thick, cylindrical, somewhat flattened and white in color. Just like brain, you can see that this is actually a cross section of the spinal cord. Okay, so the cross section, you can see the spinal cord as is actually protected within two meninges. Okay, just like the brain. Here you have the dura mater and the pia mater. Okay, and between the two meninges layer, they do have the cerebrospinal fluid. So all this, it is actually almost similar to what we have seen in the case of the brain of the frog. Okay. Now, with respect to the structure, you can see here the spinal cord, it extends posteriorly, and in the towards the posterior end, the spinal cord, it terminates in a very long phylum terminale. Okay, this phylum terminale. This part is actually non-nervous filamentous structure. Okay, and this the whole of the phylum terminale, it is placed inside the last vertebrae. The last vertebrae is known as urostyle, and the urostyle, it is inside the neural canal of the urostyle. The phylum terminale is placed. Okay. Apart from this, certain unique features of spinal cord, here you can see the spinal cord has two swellings or two enlargements. Okay, one enlargement, you can see it is found in the spinal cord passing between the two forearms. Okay, so this part, and this enlargement is known as a brachial enlargement. Okay, now the enlargement is just anterior to the phylum terminale over here. It is known as the lumbar enlargement. It is also known as sciatic enlargement, and this lumbar enlargement is a slight swelling along the cylindrical, otherwise cylindrical spinal cord. Okay, it is this lumbar enlargement is just anterior to phylum terminale. Now, throughout the length of the spinal cord, you can see this is, as told, it is a cross section, and you can see there are two fissures. Okay, um, all along the length of throughout the length of the spinal cord, we can see two longitudinal fissures. Okay, so actually this represents a fissure. Okay, so there is a deep groove-like spot. Okay, so here on one on dorsal side and one another on the ventral side, and this is referred as a dorsal fissure and the ventral fissure over here. Okay, this is the dorsal and the ventral fissure, and this passes mid-dorsally and mid-ventrally respectively. Here you can see it is almost medially placed on the dorsal side and medially placed on the ventral side. Okay, now this here you can see this is the spinal cord part, and the spinal cord, it encloses the central canal, and the central canal is continuous with the ventricles in the brain. Okay, so the last ventricle in the medulla oblongata is continuous with the central canal, and just like that is the cerebrospinal fluid filling up the ventricles, here also you can see the central canal do have the cerebrospinal. Now, spinal cord, it is formed of two regions, the white matter. Over here, you can see this is the white matter part. Okay, here you can see over here and over here. And the gray matter, it is restricted in this part. Okay, and that is why externally visible, when we see, it is white in color. Okay, so spinal cord, it is made up of outer white matter composed mainly of nerve fibers and inner gray matter mainly composed of nerve cells. Spinal cord is mainly concerned with reflex action. So it coordinates, it controls the reflex actions of the in the case of frog. Okay, so we have seen the structure of spinal cord. We have seen the cross section of the spinal cord in detail. Clear? So I hope it is clear. So now we will be looking into the nerves arising from the brain and the spinal cord. That is the cranial nerves and spinal nerves.